Um, Good evening, traders, and welcome to Trade House Weekly Markup. So we'll be looking out for the DXY today, and now from last week we talked about how we expect this to move up, and we saw this sniper entry and this move. Currently, this is where we are, and our final take profit should be around the 9,400. That is the point we'll be looking to short. The dollar, the DXY is the dollar index showing the strength of the dollar, and we'll be seeing some strength in the dollar. So the next thing we're expecting dollar to do is to get this correction and for us to keep going higher until we get to this point where we're looking for a short. So when we get to this point, we just wait for some price action and the rest before we short. So I'll be looking out for a few currency pairs that actually resonate with the dollar and how you can capitalize on them, or how they actually played out from our last week's weekly breakdown. So the first I'll be looking out for is CAD CHF. Let's see what happened to this pair. CAD CHF. We'll see how price moved, and then we expected price to hit our IPA, but by a few people, price actually missed it, and we got this drop. So we're expecting price to drop from here to this area right here, of which there's an order block right there. So we'll be looking out for that place. We'll be looking out for this area, and we can also be looking out for price to also drop lower to this point or this point. So for CAD CHF, basically we're just looking out for price to drop, nothing much, nothing less, nothing special there. For NZD USD, we saw how price hit our entry and actually delayed at this point, corrected before we saw this push down. Though we couldn't get in, we marked it out and actually skipped our mind. Couldn't get in, but could see how it's actually playing out. We have our take profit level here. We have another take profit level here. Well, let's see how it is going to play out. The market has a mind of its own, and we're not going to predict it. We're just going to react to whatever it does. So for NZD USD, this is basically what we're going to look out for. Our bias has not changed. We're still looking out for this drop to this point and down to this point. So the next pair in line is Gbp Jpy. We're currently still holding this one from last week's drop. Still holding this from last week's drop. So we're expecting price to come down to this area to give a double top. Then we'll see if we can go back to retest this other block right here before we get that final drop. We just want to get this break of structure right here before going back up. Then we're going to drop to this other block right here, clearing this low, taking out liquidity. So for Gbp Jpy, that is basically what we're looking out for. It's already marked down here, and we're just here waiting for the market to come to us for we to execute. So the next pair we'll be looking out for is NZD Jpy. If you notice, I'm just looking out for similar pairs because they're actually the ones moving now, and once they're done doing their thing, we'll switch over to next pair that are actually willing to move, that have got volatility. So right here we had the sniper entry on the 2-hour time frame. There's an order block that was mitigated right here, and we got this move also. This move was induced by the institution to trap retail traders that trade this pattern as flags. As retail traders, you've been taught when you see an impulsive move, right here, wait for the flag, and then breakout. So many people were willing to buy at this point, of which their orders were triggered, and we had a second mitigation of this point. Their orders were triggered right at this point with their stop loss right here. So we got this move. So many people might be looking at this like a retest, and we see how price dropped, went up again, took out stop losses here before we have this final drop, and now we're seeing this move right here. We're seeing this move. So I'm expecting price to come back to this area. I'm expecting price to come back to this point right here. I'm expecting price to come back to this point right here. Why? Because we've broken the structure and we're willing to go low. So I'm expecting price to come back, do this retest right here, and then we drop. So for NZD JPY, this is basically what I am expecting. We've broken this structure, we've broken several structure, and it shows that we're going down. And on a higher time frame, this is actually like a pullback on the chart. Though we've broken this structure right here, we might from this point go up, but we need to get this full pullback right here. So for Euro JPY, we saw this pullback right here. And our final take profit is still down this point, and we're still hoping that price gets to that point. Last week, we did a breakdown on this pair, a separate YouTube video. You can still go back there and watch through it, how we looked for entry at this point. But we saw that price took us into some other block right at the top before we dropped around how many pips from here? We've dropped around 154 pips, and our final take profit is around 211 pips. So we're still holding this, waiting for price to just pull back, and then we'll drop to this candlestick right here, of which there's an hidden order block right there. So for GBP NZD, this pair has not been moving the way we actually want it to move, though it has been moving to our area of take profit, but it has been actually sluggish. This is a very fast pair. We don't know why the sluggish movement, but it is still moving. We have 163 pips running. We are not holding this currently. We've been out of this because the price action it was showing was actually not encouraging. So for GBP NZ, we are still holding this, waiting for it to get to this IP area and potentially the little order block right there. So the next pair we'll be looking out for is GBP Aud. Yeah, GBP Aud, we got our first take profit smashed around 335 pips, and our second final take profit is around 439. Though we're out of this trade, but we're still looking for price to get to this point, to this other block, fill this IPA, so that we'll short from here down to this area, of which there's also an order block. So we are looking to trade from order block to order block for GBP AUD. The next we'll be looking out for is CAD JPY. CAD JPY. We saw this move, how price filled this IPA area. This trade was called, and now we saw this full move down here. And also we had a re-entry on this order block. We had a sniper right here. After this liquidity was cleared, price went up, we tested, and now we got this drop. So we're waiting for price to drop to this order block right here before we look out for our next line of action on this pair. But as you can see here, right, actually marked it out from this point. I'm looking for price to go up to this area, filling this IPA before we actually get to the drop. But price has a mind of its own. It can do whatever it wants to do. We're not predicting it. We're only going to react to it. So for GBP USD, we got into this chart on this sell right here. But after price dropped around 76 pips, we had this rejection, and we had this move to the upside and went and took out all the liquidity around here. It cleared every single liquidity around there before we saw price drop, retested, and now broke structure. Right here, we got in on this trade. We got in on this trade at this point, and now we're looking for price to drop down to this point for a 93 pip take profit. This trade was shared on Trade House group, both the free group and our Elites group. For Euro NZD, now this has also been a sluggish one, like GBP NZD, moving slowly, several rejections and all, but we are still anticipating for price to gain momentum and move to this point, clearing these highs, and all those areas. We are still expecting price to move high to this point and ultimately to this order block right here before we might see what price has for us. Then for Euro USD, we just want price to pull back and drop either to this IPA area, or price will drop to this point before we become bullish on the pair. You know, this pair is anti-dollar, and anything the dollar is doing, it actually does the opposite. So I'm waiting for price to come down to this point before we start looking to buy this pair. So right, the next we're looking out for is AUD USD. Right here, AUD USD, we had several entries on this pair. At this point, the first one, the second, and the third, and all are running to take profit. So we're just looking out, watching this pair and see how it smashes our take profit, then we'll react to it. So this week, I think as the week goes by, I'm likely to do another breakdown to see or to show some potential trade setup. But for now, let's allow the market to breathe. Let's allow it to smash our take profits, and then we clear our chart up again, and we're going to look for new and potential setup. Just do all to go through it, look at my markups, my areas of entries, and if you deem it fit, you have any question to ask, don't hesitate to use the comment section, or you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at NotoriousFX. I think I have to put it down. You can follow me on Instagram at Notorious RIOUS Notorious_FX, and shoot me your question. I'll be more than willing to attend to you. So you can just use this, follow me on Instagram, and drop your question. I'll be willing to attend. I'll be uploading this right away. Do have a great trading week ahead. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and also the bell button for your notification, so that whenever I drop another video, you will be notified. Thank you. Do have a great day ahead.